Welcome to the Explainer. Medical coding students, let's jump right in. If you've ever looked at a pediatric immunization record and felt a massive wave of panic wash over you, well, take a deep breath. You're in exactly the right place. Today, we're demystifying pediatric vaccine coding so you can approach your charts with total confidence, absolute accuracy, and a crystal clear understanding of the rules. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll cover 1. The golden coding rule. 2. Vaccine product code basics. 3. Decoding administration rules. 4. Real-world coding scenarios. And finally, 5. Avoiding common pitfalls. Let's get to it. It's the million-dollar question, isn't it? When a 6-month-old patient comes into the clinic and gets 4 different shots covering 10 different diseases, how on earth do we code all of that without triggering denials or risking a massive audit? I know it's a huge fear for new coders, but honestly, accurate billing is entirely achievable once you understand the framework. It's kind of like learning a new language. Once you nail down the grammar rules, the sentences just build themselves. Starting with Section 1, the golden coding rule. And remember, it takes 2. Every single time you're coding for a vaccination, you absolutely must remember this simple mantra. It takes 2. You literally cannot just bill for the vaccine liquid itself, and you can't just bill for the nurse actually giving the shot. Full reimbursement requires both pieces of the puzzle. Step 1 is the vaccine product code, which tells the payer exactly what was inside that syringe. And Step 2 is the administration code, which explains how that product actually got into the patient's body. Both need to be coded correctly and documented clearly. If you forget one, you are straight up leaving revenue on the table. Moving right along to Section 2. Vaccine product code basics, or identifying the syringe. Now there's a little quirk in your CPT Codebook that trips up a ton of students. Vaccine product codes are found over in the medicine section, generally between codes 91304 and 9749. If you're flipping through your book right now thinking, wait, these aren't in perfect numerical order, do not panic. It's totally okay if the codebook looks a bit chaotic. Because of the massive influx of new vaccine codes following the COVID-19 pandemic, the neat numerical order got completely disrupted. Just rely on your index and always double-check those descriptions. As you look at those product codes, you're definitely going to encounter combination vaccines. This is a single injection that covers multiple diseases. Think of it exactly like a combo meal at a fast food joint. You don't ring up the burger, the fries, and the drink separately, right? You just hit the button for combo number 1. For example, the Vaxalis vaccine covers 6 different antigens: diphtheria, tetanus, pertussis, Hib, polio, and hepatitis B, all in one single injection. You'll report a single CPT product code for that entire combination product, not 6 separate codes for each component. Another major concept for pediatric coders is the Vaccines for Children, or VFC program. Under this program, the state often provides vaccine products to your clinic at absolutely no cost. But here's the trick. Even though the product was free, you must still report the product code on your claim. You just report it with a $0 charge. Plus, depending on the state you practice in, you might need to append modifier SL to that product code to indicate it was state supplied. It basically tells the payer, hey, we gave this vaccine, but we aren't asking you to pay for the liquid itself. All right, Section 3, Decoding Administration Rules. This is all about the how and who. Now, this is the absolute biggest fork in the road for pediatric coding. When it comes to giving the shot, you have to look at the provider's documentation and ask yourself, was counseling provided? If the physician or qualified healthcare professional provided counseling to the parent or patient under 19, you use a very specific set of codes. That's 90460 for the first component and 90461 for each additional component. Notice I emphasize the word component. But if no counseling was provided, the rules completely change. You'd use 90471 for the first vaccine and 90472 for each additional vaccine. Going this route, you're basically counting the needle sticks themselves, not the components inside the syringe. Taking a look at this quick reference table for those admin codes, you can see 90471 and 90472 right there for your standard intramuscular or subcutaneous injections without counseling. But look down at 90473 and 90474. Those are specifically for intranasal or oral routes, like those rotavirus drops. And right in the middle, notice code 90480. This is the designated administration code for all ages when giving a COVID-19 vaccine. It literally stands completely on its own, regardless of the other rules. And finally, at the bottom, we see our counseling codes, 90460 and 90461. So the absolutely crucial point here is how you mix and match these routes when there's no counseling. You can never, ever have 2 first administration codes on the same claim for these traditional vaccines. Do not report 90473, which is the first oral vaccine, alongside 90471, the first IM injection. If a baby gets an IM shot and an oral drop in the exact same visit, 90471 takes the lead as the primary administration code. For the oral drops, you have to use the add-on code 90474. You always have one primary, and the rest are just add-ons. Okay, I know that was a ton of foundational rules to process all at once. So before we put this into practice with a real 6-month-old patient scenario, take a quick second to hit that like button for this explainer and subscribe to the channel. We post daily medical coding updates to help students just like you master the basics and absolutely crush those certification exams. All right, let's get back to the clinic. Section 4, Real-World Coding Scenarios. It's time for the boss battle. Here is our setup. We have a 6-month-old infant in for a routine well-child visit. And this brave little patient is getting quite a lot today. They're receiving Vaxelis, which is given IM, and remember, that has 6 components. They get PCV20, which is 1 component, IM. They get the rotavirus vaccine, 1 component, given orally. They get a flu shot, 1 component, IM. And finally, a COVID-19 vaccine, 1 component, IM. Let's see how the documentation completely changes our coding outcome. In Scenario 1, the provider heavily documents that they provided counseling to the parent for every single vaccine given today. Because counseling was provided for a patient under 19, boom, we unlock those component-based codes. Look at Vaxelis. Because it has 6 components, we code the first component with 90460 one time, and then we use the add-on code 90461 5 times to account for the remaining 5 diseases all packed into that one syringe. For the PCV20, rotavirus, and flu, they each just have 1 component, so they each get a single 90460. And remember our special rule? COVID-19 doesn't follow the component rules at all. It just gets its dedicated 90480 administration code. Now check out Scenario 2. What if the provider didn't offer counseling for most of the vaccines because, the parent was already counseled at earlier visits, but they did document counseling for the flu shot? Look at how the administration math completely shifts here. Without counseling, we stop counting components entirely and start counting needle sticks and routes. Vaxelis drops to a simple 9471 for the first IM injection. PCV20 becomes the add-on IM injection, 9472. Rotavirus is the add-on oral route, making it 9474. But because the flu shot did have counseling, it gets the 9460. COVID-19, as always, stays right at 9480. And looking at both scenarios side by side, it brilliantly illustrates the massive difference your provider's documentation actually makes. On the top, with counseling, you're capturing the complexity of the combination vaccines through multiple units of 90461. On the bottom, without counseling, you're simply coding for the physical administration routes. This is exactly why medical coders have to read chart notes so carefully. You just can't guess. The presence or absence of that one piece of counseling documentation literally dictates your entire code path. Which brings us to Section 5, avoiding common pitfalls and protecting the revenue. Even veteran coders can get caught in these traps. Number 1, forgetting the administration code entirely. Remember the golden rule. It takes 2. The product alone just isn't enough. Number 2, using the wrong admin codes. If counseling is documented, do not default to 90471. You've got to use those 90460 codes. Number 3, miscalculating the components in a combo vaccine. If you aren't 100% sure how many diseases are in a shot, check the manufacturer's package insert or use tools from the American Academy of Pediatrics. Please, don't guess. And number 4, always ensure your clinic has a rock-solid process to document that the Vaccine Information Statement, or VIS, was actually given. And keep your national drug code references completely up to date for billing. So, I'll leave you with this provocative thought as you head back to your coding studies. Are you truly counting every single component in your combination vaccines when counseling is provided, or are you accidentally leaving money on the table? Mastering these rules doesn't just prevent audits, it ensures pediatric practices are fully reimbursed for the amazing life-saving preventative care they provide every day. Keep practicing, keep reading those chart notes, and you'll be a coding expert in no time. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and happy coding!